Alright class, you're watching the 1.9 Organelle Relationships video about the nucleus versus ribosomes. Inside your notes, you go to the very bottom of the page, and I need you guys to go ahead and fill in this next box telling me how you think the nucleus works with ribosomes in the cell. You already know what they each do individually. You learned that using the brain pop and the web quest. Now tell me how you think that they work together. Also, what I need you guys to do is finish the summary for the cell wall versus the cell membrane. I forgot to instruct you to do that in the last video, so make sure you completed that. If you need to take the time to do that right now, press pause, and when you're ready to move on with the video, press play. You'll be continuing the rest of your notes right here at the 1.9 nucleus versus ribosome section. Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's review the nucleus real quick. This is a gotta know organelle. You've got this one down, just like the cell membrane. They're very key, and they're going to be tested highly on the benchmark. Make sure you're boxing everything in green. The nucleus here needs to be boxed. The nucleus stores the cell's DNA. It is the control center of the cell. The DNA inside of each of your cells is what makes you, you. The DNA controls your traits like your hair color, your height, your eye color, and your personality. Really, all of your traits are controlled by your DNA. From your finger length to your nose length to the color of your teeth, everything. But then there's an environment that plays a role. So you could have naturally really white teeth, but if you don't brush them, they're going to get worse. So everything works together. DNA is responsible. Yeah, that's bad. DNA is responsible for all the different life forms on Earth. DNA makes you different from your mom, your best friend, and your pet dog. The example is the mayor. It's what controls the city. The nucleus inside your cell controls your cell. Let's review some ribosomes. Ribosomes. Make sure we box it. It's a key vocab word. It's the place where proteins are made. Ribosomes take the RNA from the nucleus and turn them into proteins. But wait, Mr. Henders, didn't you say DNA? I sure did. We'll learn about the special molecule RNA momentarily. Proteins are the workers of the cell. They do everything. And trust me when I say everything. And the example I give you is college, where students are trained to become working members of society. The ribosomes make proteins to become working members of the cell. Colleges make students into working members of society. Looking here, this is a 3D graphical image of what ribosomes actually look like. This is a more simple image. This right here, this strand, is the RNA. The ribosome is reading this RNA and making a protein. Inside our cell here, these are our ribosomes. You can also find them on the endoplasmic reticulum. And they look like little beads on the endoplasmic reticulum. Make sure we fill in our half side of our diagrams of the cell. Here is our nucleus. Here are our ribosomes. Here is our nucleus. Here are our ribosomes. So what is the relationship between DNA in the nucleus and the proteins made by ribosomes? And the answer is genes. DNA, box it, is your genetic code that makes you you. We know this. DNA makes you unique. Genes are segments or parts of DNA that make proteins. Each gene makes a different protein. More to come in the genetics or genetics unit. The reason why I made this all capital is because genes is the root word of genetics. Multiple genes work together to control your features like height, hair color, skin color, etc. Proteins are the workers of your cells. They carry out all the functions of the cell. The relationship is going to come in a moment. So, you don't need to copy anything down from this slide, but it's important. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. DNA is a molecule that's stored in the nucleus. We know this. It's your genetic code that makes up your genes. The genes that DNA make control your physical features like height, hair color, and eye shape, and your personality like shyness, aggressiveness, and outgoing. Yes, it controls who you are as a person. Each cell in an organism has the same DNA, but nobody's DNA is the same. So all 100 trillion of my cells have the same DNA, and each cell has different DNA from you. Now, why I show you this picture here is because inside of our nucleus we have these things called chromosomes. We'll learn all about them next unit. They look like these X's, and they're just a whole bunch of condensed or smashed together DNA. And then the DNA, a little bit of DNA is called the gene. So all of this is DNA, and a little segment or piece is called a gene. So once again, how does this nucleus DNA work with the ribosomes? And here it is. The DNA in the nucleus is copied down as RNA or mRNA. This single strand is RNA, DNA is the double strand. The RNA leaves the nucleus. Guys, the DNA never leaves the nucleus. The DNA is always in the nucleus. So in order for the information to get to the ribosome, the DNA has to get copied down as RNA. Then the RNA goes to the ribosome. The ribosome reads the RNA and makes a protein based on the directions. Remember, your DNA has all the directions for all the proteins. One protein's information and the RNA leaves the cell, goes to the ribosome, and the ribosome makes one protein out of one gene. If that's hard and you don't believe me, check out this super sweet video. I'm going to turn her on mute, and you're going to just hear me explain what's going on. Here we have these proteins, and their job is to copy DNA as RNA. So I told you proteins do everything. The proteins in the nucleus are going to read the DNA and make a copy of RNA. So right now they're setting themselves up, and they're about ready to copy down the DNA as RNA. This pink strand is DNA. And these proteins are going to copy the DNA as RNA. We're about to get started. And this is in real time. This is how fast your DNA gets copied. So the growing yellow tail, that's RNA. The protein is zipping down the DNA, reading the information, and out comes the RNA, a molecule that has that information that can leave the cell. The pink is double-stranded, it's never leaving the cell, it's DNA. The protein copies the DNA down as RNA as it goes down the DNA and reads. And this is how fast your cells are doing it, and every one of your cells in your body right now is making proteins just like this. Right now inside of your cells, you have proteins copying DNA as RNA. The yellow is the RNA and the pink is the DNA. Sorry about the video quality. This is really weird. I don't know why it's going so slow and choppy. Alright, so here's the guy talking. When we get back to the cell, we'll be able to finish this explanation. So once again, the yellow is the growing RNA. It's done. We got the entire gene copied. And now the RNA is going to swim over to a ribosome. It leaves the nucleus through these pores, or the nuclear holes, and now it's looking for a ribosome. When the RNA finds a ribosome, the ribosome is going to lock in around the RNA, and it's going to use proteins to make more proteins. So the proteins copy the RNA, and now the ribosome is made out of proteins that are reading the RNA to make more proteins. It's crazy. Proteins run the cell. So we have the ribosome. It is currently adding to this pink protein chain. Let me go and pause this. Hopefully that allows it to buffer for a second. Alright, let's see if that worked. Awesome. It looks like it buffered a bit. So all these different proteins are called amino acids. They're little protein pieces that join together to make the whole protein. is a ribosome reads the RNA. It tells these little triangle guys called tRNA to go grab the right protein. Then it comes in and it adds the protein to the chain. So the ribosome is reading the RNA. While it reads the RNA, it gets the right amino acid or little protein piece and adds it to the protein chain. When it's done reading the RNA for the entire gene, it finishes making the protein, and the protein is able to go do its job in the cell. So proteins copy the RNA. Proteins read the RNA and make a protein. Proteins make proteins. I'm not kidding when I tell you proteins run the cell. And as the amino acids add, our protein gets bigger and bigger until the ribosome is done. Alright, so what does the nucleus do? The nucleus, A, stores DNA, B, stores RNA, C, makes proteins, D, carries out the functions of the cell. What do ribosomes do? A, store DNA, B, store RNA, C, make proteins, D, carry out the functions of the cell. What do proteins do? A, store DNA, B, store RNA, C, make proteins, or D, carry out the functions of the cell. This last question is tough. It's asking you how they work together. How does the DNA in the nucleus become a protein? A, DNA in the nucleus leaves the nucleus and finds a ribosome. The ribosome reads the information on the DNA and makes a protein. B, ribosomes go into the nucleus and read the information on the DNA and makes a protein. C, the DNA is copied as RNA. The ribosomes go into the nucleus and reads the RNA and makes a protein. D, the DNA is copied down as RNA. The RNA leaves the nucleus and goes to the ribosome. The ribosome reads the RNA and makes a protein. Because this question is so loaded, I'm going to explain it to you guys. DNA can't leave the nucleus. A is not correct. B, ribosomes can't get into the nucleus. B is not correct. The DNA is copied as RNA, this is true. But the ribosomes do not go into the nucleus. C is not correct. The answer is D. The DNA is copied down as RNA. The RNA leaves the nucleus and goes to the ribosome. The ribosome reads the RNA and makes a protein. Fantastic work. At the end of this section, go ahead and summarize what you learned in answering these guidelining questions. What is the job of the nucleus? What is DNA? How does the information on the DNA leave the nucleus? What do ribosomes do with the RNA? And what do proteins do? Go ahead and answer those questions. Great work.